Hi guys. I had a couple of emails through tonight, people concerned about the cost of living and what they do during hyperinflation to offset the balance of cost of living against the cost of wages and earning. Several things you can do, especially if you're living in a city. The common thing in the city, unfortunately, and everybody does it because it's a social thing, is your Starbucks and your instant coffees when you're out. Best thing to do, just cut back on your main brands like Nescafe and buy the store's own brands like Walmart or Asda's or Tesco's. Or it's always a bitter pill to swallow, but that's the reality. You've got to cut back and save pinch pennies here and there. If there is allotments in the area, I know there's a few allotments in Cardiff, especially now after the pandemic. Trying to get an allotment is absolute murder. But find out where local allotments are, get your name down on the waiting list. Get friendly with the other gardeners who work in there. If somebody's growing 4 or 5 strips of runner beans or peas, you grow tomatoes and onions or something, and you share your produce. Because if he's growing for the season 10 rows of potatoes, there's no way you can eat them all. And a lot of the allotmenteers will transfer over product to help each other out. And out of an average size allotment, you will, out of a season's growing, you still won't get enough produce to last you a full year. You need a lot of ground for your family to last you a full year. But you can help with what you're doing. A packet of seeds is a few pence, and all it'll take you is an hour in the evening to go up in the summer, clear your weeds out, and water your crops, and harvest them when the time is due. And everybody's allotments are excellent. I used to have an allotment, but I was in Cardiff, and people are very helpful at teaching you how to do things, how to prepare the ground, what soils you need, what fertilizers to use. And often, if you've got 2 or 3 people growing the same produce, grow something completely different. You find a lot of these allotmenteers will share produce. Because if you've got 2 or 3 guys all growing potatoes, and you're the only one growing peas, you'd be surprised how quickly if they want to trade, to swap. So it becomes a bartering system then. This will help you. It won't be massive, but it will take a little bit of the pressure off. Your coffee shops, you're going to have to pack them in. They're expensive. In places like London, it'd be £7, £8, £10 for a luxurious coffee. Where you can buy a cheap jar of Red Mountain or Nescafe for about £4 or £5, and make it, even if you buy their home brands, you can get it for £3. Over a course of a month, you save a lot of money. Take your own little jars to work instead of buying coffee from the machine. A lot of companies, I think, is wrong. The old cafes they used to have in the buildings, like in the steelworks and the mining industry, they all had subsidised restaurants in there. You save yourself a hell of a lot of money. Unfortunately, a lot of places don't do that anymore, 21st century. It's F you, Jack, I'm alright, with a lot of the companies. So to recap, if you're in the cities, seek out your local allotments. You can plot share. So if you don't have a lot of time at work, so say for example you're working nights regular, your partner or a neighbour wants allotment as well, but they can only do weekends now. Share the ground between you. Share the produce between you, and over the course of each season, you might get a week's extra food for yourselves or your neighbours from the plot, and sharing with the other growers in the allotments. So that's 1 second. Starbucks and all the rest of it, forget it. It's too expensive. The government has already made sure by upping the taxes on alcohol and drinks that you're paying through the nose for drinks in the UK. Go around your friends, arrange parties around each other's houses. Again, this is what the government wants, because if you're not out on the road being drunk, then it means there's less police needed and ambulance services required to come to attend you in the assistance. So that's some of the things you do. What else can you do? If bicycles. Back to the good old fashioned bicycle, like China was 10 years ago, that everybody riding bicycles everywhere. You're going to have to cut back to the bicycle and keep your car just for either doing your monthly food shop. Don't do it weekly, do it monthly, buy it in bulk. Get your extra canned foods, dehydrated, cut back on your frozen, or only buy produce frozen when you actually need it if you're passing the building, rather than making a special journey to use extra fuel. And the final option, get out of the city, get out of the countryside. And where you're spending at the moment £1,000 plus a month for rent for a single bed sit or a 1-bedroom flat in London, you can get a house in the countryside for that with a massive garden. Don't need allotments, you've got a garden. For what you're paying for a flat in London a month, £1,500, £2,000 a month for a house, if not more, in London a month. You can get somewhere outside of London for a third of the cost and commute back in and still be cheaper than living in London. London is just a bubble. Everything's artificially high because for some reason everybody's got to be in London. What the fixation is, I don't know. But there's other cities around the country which are half the price. Cardiff, half the price of London. Exeter, half the price of London. With every facility you'll ever need. So seriously consider moving. Things are getting that tight that you can't even afford to eat. You should be looking on the internet now, looking for other sources of income. There we go. 4 hours calls at the wrong time. Where was we to? Okay, so things you can do with the looming crisis. Cut down on the branded products you buy. Get more like Tesco's home brand, Walmart's home brand, those sort of things. Looking to find an allotment or garden sharing with friends to produce some of your own stock together. Stop buying coffees from places which are uber expensive, and because it's the sake of sitting in for a £10 cup of coffee, you can buy 2 jars of coffee for that and make coffee for a month. Consider moving to a new location. You should, if not, you should be looking already. Outside of the cities, looking to improve your current position. Do online learning to get a better job. Online selling, reselling, trading, marketing, Bitcoin, to improve your stocks and shares. Everybody these days got a sideline. This is my sideline. So everybody has got their main job, their core job, and at least 2 or 3 other jobs besides. Although I'm a professional truck driver, I also got my coffee page I buy and sell on. I got my eBay I buy and sell on. I got my blogging on here, and I got other projects as well which I work on. So there's always a means of creating extra income. Apart from this, the other thing you can do is move country altogether. Move to something like Patagonia, where the taxes are ultra low. Unfortunately, this is the situation which we're all facing. The days of most people having the working class having just a 9 to 5 job, and that's your week done or your day done, and have the weekend off. Those days are long gone. I say, apart from my main job, there's other things you can do. To use your license, you can be an Uber driver, taxiing, bus driver, go on the trucks as well. It's not bad money. But there's plenty of other options you can do to increase your earning potential. If you can't increase your earning potential, then you need to shed your base levels, which is getting rid of things like I said, brand names and things like that. In London, you can't help it. It's society. Everybody lives on brand names. Out in the sticks, we just don't seem to think it's necessary. We don't need to keep up with the Joneses. You know, everybody just mucks in together. It's just a different sort of breed of person altogether. So this is something you need to look at, is, as I said, relocation. Sell your car. If you're driving a 2021, 2022 Merc, put it in for a Ford Fiesta. If you can't shoulder the persona of being a Ford driver as opposed to a Mercedes driver, then there's no helping you. You need to shed things to help yourself. So, and some things take tough choices. It's just the way life is now. It's unless you're not hitting that top 10% of earners, then unfortunately you need to make drastic lifestyle changes to cut those costs. Okay guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.